This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty, we are back. Hour number 2. The great Matt Verderame, Sports Illustrated, ready to join us. Or you ready to go there?
I am ready to go. I am sorry. I am in the middle of onboarding hell. Which
What happened? You're tied up with Xavier Babudar and in his court case?
no, I am so Sports Illustrated switched what company hosts it essentially to make this easier for everyone to understand. And it's great because I'm going to a company that I love in Minute Media who bought the license, and I used to work there for Fansided because they also own Fansided. But it's one of those deals. You get a new laptop and you got to re-sign into everything, and you got to create passwords and create usernames. And let's just say that I've been wearing out the IT guy for the last few hours. He is, whatever he's getting paid, it's not enough, because he's had me in his Slack DMs for about 2 straight hours going, "Hey man, what the hell's going on?" It's been fun. It's been fun. I'm guessing less fun for him than for me, but God bless Mr. Jackson, who's walking me through all this crap.
Well, I just I threw it out there because your Chiefaholics fan was ordered to pay $10.8 million to the bank teller. I mean, that was that's a wacky. They're expecting him to make a Hallmark movie or a book or something in the end to make this money or something. I mean,
He's never getting that money.
well, the teller's never getting that money. That's for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's never getting that money. So, I mean,
what a crazy story, dude.
the
Holy shit.
the craziest part about it, in my opinion, other than like the obvious, is that this guy was doing this and then just like going to Chiefs games. Like, you would think if you like took millions of dollars, you'd be in seclusion, you'd be hiding, you'd be in some other country by the time everybody figured it out. This guy was like, "Nah, Chiefs Texans. It's gonna get in the 100 level." Like, just to have that kind of
chutzpah.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. To have that kind of chutzpah, to just be like, "I don't care. I just robbed multiple banks, and now I'm going to go drop, Chiefs plus 6.5." Yeah, I mean, it's just wild to me. But then again, the whole story is wild, so I guess that makes sense.
That is I read that story and I was like, okay, I gotta have some fun with Matt on that one,
Yeah.
obviously with the whole Chief stuff going on. With Tavondre Sweat getting arrested for the DWI. I didn't think he was really anyways a first rounder. I thought he was kind of an early second rounder, but
I agree.
This is something that might drop him to the back end of the second round into the third round, maybe, right?
I believe it was Dane Brugler of The Athletic who does great work with the drafts, and he's plugged in. He said he thinks he could be a 4th round pick.
Wow.
So I guess this is not, according to what I was reading, there were a lot of questions about his off-field behavior to begin with. So this didn't exactly help. I am with you. I didn't think he'd go in the first round regardless. I thought he'd be around like pick 40, something like that. But now it's like, look, the question in the NFL and in anything really in life always becomes talent versus crap you'll put up with. Like, the more talent you have, the more crap people will put up with. Sweat is a talented kid, and so he's still going to get drafted. If he was somebody who would have been like a 6th round pick and did this, he might not have been drafted at all. We saw Jalen Carter last year do everything he could to drop himself down the board. He was still a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because of the talent.
Now his talent was a little different because his talent
No
is
question.
like,
He was,
some people
thought he might have been the best player in the draft.
He's game-changing talent. That's the thing.
Exactly. Which is why he went from maybe like pick 3 to pick 10.
Right.
Sweat might go from pick 40 to pick 100. Right. So, yeah, man, like this is, and I never get it. Like, this is the time.
Reminds you, by the way, of our boy that we took. He was supposed to go to the Titans in the top 5, and the bong mask. Tunsil just dropped to whatever it was, 10, 13, whatever. I forgot what Miami was at. Yeah. And that's why, because he only dropped a few spots because they knew, bro, he could drop, but not that much. So my question with Sweat is, what do you know? Is this a 1 and out, or is this guy's been a knucklehead, and this is kind of now the icing on the cake on a lot of other stuff that he may have done before without it getting public or something?
I couldn't tell you from a legal standpoint if there's anything else out there. You would think that would have come to light. But
Right.
again, from what I read this morning, there is this is not the first character concern. Now, it might be the most serious one. But this is a time of the year I never understand with these guys. You're 2
Right.
weeks from the draft, man.
Right.
You're 2 weeks away. You're gonna get paid millions. Go walk, get a cab, get an Uber, do whatever. I don't care if the Uber's $500.
Your agent will pay for it,
Yeah,
bro.
you're good for the money. Like, what are you doing? Look, you know what? It's not just kids who are getting drafted. Look at the amount of guys who in the NFL get popped for this all the time.
I know.
And there's a number that the NFL gives you that you can call if you're a player, and they will pick you up and drop you off where you've got to go. No questions asked. Guys don't do it. Guys don't do it. I'm fine. I'm good anyway. And so now, yeah, you're talking about if let's say he drops from early second round to the fourth. Let's say it happens. You're talking cumulatively a difference of $1 million over his rookie deal, something like that. I mean, life-changing money because he decided to go driving. It's just a poor decision, and it's one that's going to cost him.
Did you see Stefon Diggs dig into the Bills mafia?
Yes, I did. I'm not surprised. Stefon Diggs loves a little drama on Twitter, and he is going to find it in spades. And he's certainly going to find it with a bunch of riled up Bills fans.
And he liked a tweet that said Bills fans are the worst fan base and bitter.
Well,
so they went crazy. The Bills mafia went crazy, and then obviously the Texans fans are laughing at the Bills fans.
Yeah. You know what? Look, it's one of those deals like Diggs was always active on social media. It's one of the reasons he got dealt out of town. That's not going to stop now that he's in Houston. I mean, the real question with the Bills and their fans, it's like, look, I get you being pissed off because of the way this all went down. If you're a fan of the Bills, that's fine. But like at the same point, I got to tell you, there have been a lot of rumblings out of Buffalo, and I've heard the same myself. Like the biggest problem Diggs had in Buffalo is he didn't think Allen was committed enough. And that's now becoming a little bit of a thing. Like I heard that a year ago when all this stuff started with Diggs and him not showing up to mini camp and McDermott saying it was a concern. I reached out to some people in the area that I know that are close to the team. Say, look, man, what is going on with this? What is the real issue? And the answer I got from more than one person was can't completely pin it down, but the sense is that Diggs is struggling with Allen because Allen is not as committed as he needs to be to try to win. Now, that's a hard thing to juxtapose is how hard he plays, but I think it's more of like a preparation concern. It's more of an issue about, hey, how all in are you all the time? We're going to find out because Allen's job got harder than it's been in a long time now without Diggs there. You don't have Diggs. You don't have any number one receiver. Like I like Dalton Kincaid as much as the next guy. He's a second-year tight end. Like the idea that he's just going to be the epicenter of the offense, I like him. That might be a huge ask. So Allen better be all in. He better be pot committed because if he's not, they're going to struggle. They need him to be the best version of himself this year.
Well, yeah, but they're also going to get back to him running because they figured that out last year that he is not effective. He's not the same player if you make him a pure pocket passer because he's not really a pure pocket passer. So that also will put him at risk for the concussions and things like that. That I think is, in the end, I get it. He has to play that way, but man, that's going to put you at risk. And now you're going to have to run a lot more without Diggs, without playmakers out there. Now, the other thing on the flip side, I don't know if I'm Houston, I want to give CJ that guy. That's, I would probably want a more professional veteran wide receiver there with him. This guy is incredibly volatile, and
he is.
If you're not going to him, you've seen when he doesn't get the ball, Sean McDermott's like hugging him at halftime and trying to coddle him or all that. dude, I don't know if D'Amico Ryans is that kind of guy. And
Yeah, I don't
so,
think he's that guy either.
yeah, I think this is a really, really interesting move that it could become very volatile. And the other thing is his stats went the other way last year.
Yes.
So you wonder, is the talent going the other way too? So where is he talent-wise? Where is he mentally? And what kind of an influence will he have on a young quarterback?
It's all of those are fair questions. I think so. Diggs last year in his first 6 games had 5 100-yard games. He was awesome. He didn't have another one the whole rest of the year, including the playoffs.
Right.
His last target as a Bill was that deep ball that Allen threw to him down the sideline. It was one of the best throws you'll ever see and went right through his hands. I liked the move for Houston before they got rid of the last 3 years of his contract. And for those who say, well, they didn't want to pay him until he was 34, they didn't have to. When they acquired him, all that guaranteed money, that's on the Bills. Like the Texans could have gone year to year. And now he's got 1 year left on his deal and he could walk. So to my mind's eye, if he plays poorly and he leaves, and you gave up a second-round pick for a guy who plays poorly.
Exactly.
If you keep him, like let's say he goes out and he plays well. Let's say, whatever, 1,200 yards, plays well. Okay. Now you got to resign him, and you have no leverage. You have no leverage. Where before you could have said, hey, look, man, you signed for 3 more years. Like, we'll give you some more guaranteed money, but like it's on our terms. Now he can go, yeah, no, it's not on your terms. It's on my terms.
Right.
I don't understand why Casario did that. I don't get it. And I saw so many people like, oh, it's a smart move. No, it's not. No, it's not. It gives them no leverage. They weren't on the hook for any guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Like they did it as a favor to him.
And you're counting on somebody that is sometimes unreliable.
It makes no sense. It's dumb, like flat out dumb. I don't understand how anybody could argue that this is a good idea. It's not a good idea. Now, the other part of this is, I think Diggs is still a very good player. He may not be a great player anymore. He's still, I think, very good. The Texans gave up a second-round pick. I know they got a few late-round picks as well. My question is, did they need Diggs? You already had Collins and Tank Dell. You've got a good running game. You obviously have Stroud, and you've got 2 excellent tackles in Howard and in Tunzel. I would have argued if you were going to give up a second-round pick, like go get a corner to pair with Stingley. Go get another guy in the front 7, because the one thing with Houston's offseason that nobody's really talked about. So they brought in Danielle Hunter, who's a great player, but they lost Grenard, and they lost Cashman, and they lost Collins in the front 7. That is a lot.
Yes.
As good as Hunter is, he's not all 3 of those guys combined. They did not add to their secondary, and I like Petrie and I like Stingley. That secondary can be had. It's still a problem. The offensive line, the interior, still a problem. Tackles are really good. Interior is a question mark. And then you look at like the weapons. That was the one thing. You have plenty of weapons. So is it overkill? Is it something where if Nico Collins is crushing it for a month, Stefon Diggs is pissed off because he got 4 targets 3 times?
Yes.
Like that's where it does be. And like if you're playing the Kansas Cities and the Cincinnatis and Miami, and those teams can score 34 points on you, like, does it matter that you have Stefon Diggs? If I were the Texans, I would have called up Denver and been like, what do you want for Satan? You want a 1 and a 2? Because we'll give you a 1 and a 2. And if you're going to go out and get a receiver, go call Denver, give up a 4th for Cortland Sutton. Like, I agree. I like that they got better, but I think there's a lot of risk for Houston.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The J.J. McCarthy stuff, smokescreen, or you're believing that he is maybe taken at 3 or 4?
I don't think he's going to go top 3, but I think he's going to be the 4th quarterback off the board, and I think he's going to be a top 5 pick. I thought it was smoke when I was at the combine. Now talking to more, I think that's just what it's going to be. I personally don't see that.
Okay, me too.
I think that for my money, Williams is declared number 1, and he will be the number 1 pick.
Of course.
Drake May, to me, should be the number 2 pick. Jaden Daniels is polarizing. I get why a team would take him early. The athletic prowess is off the charts. I get it. There are also some real things he's got to work through on the field. He is not great when pressured. When he starts to run, he runs. He does not throw the ball on the run. Like, There are some real issues there. And when he takes off, it is like with reckless abandon. And he is not a huge kid. So there are some concerns. On the flip side, if you can coach some of that stuff out of him, he could be awesome. So I get it. McCarthy, to me, I just kind of feel like he's maybe got a high floor, but he's got a little bit of a lower ceiling. Like, I don't know that I'm taking a guy with a fairly low ceiling respective to being a top 5 pick that early. I think the 2 wild cards in this draft are Nix and Penix. Those are the guys. Nix could go 12 to Denver. He could also be a borderline first-round pick. And I think the same's true of Michael Penix. Michael Penix, you talk to some people in the league who say, man, he could be a top 10 guy. I don't think he will be a top 10 guy, but he could be. Then there are other people who are like, bro, I wouldn't take him for the middle of the second round. It's all over the place. I always err on when you hear stuff like that. They're probably going to go earlier because all it takes is one team. And especially at that position, it really just takes one team. But yeah, look, Bo Nix, like I think it was over at DraftKings or like one of those major books. His over-under for the spot that he lands is 32.5. And I think that's understandable. Like I feel like they're the 2 guys in this draft, and we see it every year. If they start to slide, they're really going to slide. Like it's going to be an avalanche of a slide down through the bottom half of that first round.
Brady Quinn slide.
Yeah. The Brady Quinn, the Teddy Bridgewater, the Lamar Jacksons, a guy who you're like, well, he could go 10, and then there's like 2 spots after that where he could go and he doesn't, and then it's just like he's not going for these 12 picks because you know
3 solid. Yeah.
Once you get to the 18, 19, 20 spots, those teams have quarterbacks.
Right.
Like there's a reason that they're in those spots. So then you get a real big slide.
I got you. All right. What do you got going on in Sports Illustrated?
I am working
if you figure out your laptop.
You know what? Honestly, while I was sitting here, the laptop, I think, figured itself out. So that's good.
Oh, okay.
That apparently what we needed was time.
It's got AI. It doesn't need you.
Which is true in more ways than one. Which is great as long as you keep paying me if it wants to write my articles.
That's what I'm saying.
Slap a byline on there. So we've got. I'm actually working on a piece going out Friday, kind of evaluating teams over the last 5 years and ranking them accordingly based on how well they've drafted and how that's translated to on-field success. I came up with a formula for it. We did it last year, and we're doing it this year. It's kind of going to be one of those things we do every year. I've got a mock draft coming out on Tuesday, which I know everybody's thrilled to death to read a mock draft, but read this one because, frankly, it keeps the lights on. And then Thursday, I'm having some fun. I mentioned this, I believe, in the show last week. I'm doing a mock draft where I mock drafts.
Oh, yes.
I mock drafts. I'm trading every pick. It's chaos. And if for no other reason you just want to laugh, you're at work and you need 5 minutes, just read it. Like it's meant to be ridiculous. Please don't be the guy who comments every year and is like, this would never happen. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. It would never happen. That's the point. So that's coming out on Thursday. There's a bunch of other content as well, but make sure to check it all out on my Twitter feed and at si.com.
There you go. Follow him on Twitter also at Matt Verderame. Matt, thank you, my brother. We will catch up next week, my friend. Appreciate you.
Sounds good. Take care.
Thank you, sir. There you go. Matt Verderame getting it done.
This is the Big O Show.